from the very beginning, I want to deal with a customer. I want to deal with a customer that like they care about this. When we're done with it, they are blown away. They're happy. We can bond and rapport with them. Whereas like a lot of commercial jobs, which I mean, it is what it is. If I worked at a warehouse and I had to get the doors done at the warehouse, I don't give a shit how you get them done. Just get them done.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I want us to have our bond and rapport. I want us to feel good about this. I want them to leave a review on Facebook about how happy they were with the service. That's why we stick with it.
This episode is sponsored by Door and Gate Domination, a digital marketing agency that helps garage door contractors, gate companies, and access control businesses like never before. If you're looking for help with marketing, you want real results with SEO, websites, Google Ads, Meta, and AI-powered systems built for the door and access industry, visit us at doordomination.com to schedule a free strategy session and a competition analysis. It's time to dominate your market.
Welcome to Garage Door Growth, the podcast for professionals and contractors in the garage door and gate industry. Join us as we hear from well-respected vendors, industry leaders, and highly successful door and gate contractors. This is the ultimate source for valuable insights on running and scaling a successful garage door business with your host, Barry Nix.
So this is Brock. This is Garage Door Growth. We are a podcast for garage door company owners, vendors, manufacturers. This is all about the garage door business. And this is a friend of mine, Brock Dickison. He's with Heybo Garage Doors in Brazil, Indiana. And he is a rock star in the world of garage doors, according to me. That's my opinion.
Say, big grand scheme of things, I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at your history and you look at your fast trajectory to success, it's really encouraging. I think it's motivating. It should be an inspiration for somebody in the garage door industry who's been in the business a long time, or somebody who's just getting into it, to see your fast track. This should be called, the fast track to garage door success or something like that. We could put it into Claude and come up with a new description and title, but yeah, that's okay. So yeah, Brock Dickison, Brazil, Indiana. How are you today, sir?
Good. I think we're about to get hit with storm, so hopefully this doesn't get cut off. So,
okay. Well, you got a generator or something?
Yeah, we'll be all right. We'll be fine.
So tell me your story. Like, you've got a company, it's called Heybo Garage Doors, which is about the most unique, original name that I could think of. I mean, of all our clients at Door and Gate Domination, I don't have another one that's quite as unique as Heybo. I remember the first time we talked and I asked you about it because it struck me so like, I don't know, like it was just so interesting you would call it Heybo, and you told me that story. Let's dip into that real quick. How did you name it Heybo?
If we're going to dive into stories, eventually we'll find out that I was in the military, and my best friend in the military is from North Carolina. And when me and him started hanging out, anytime we'd see each other, he'd be like, "Hey, Bo, like, how you been?" Or, "Hey, Bo, what are you trying to do this weekend?"
Yeah.
And I just stopped him and I was like, "Dude, why do you keep calling me Bo? Like, I got a dog named Bo, but I don't go by Bo." And he was like, "No, it's just a friendly gesture." He was like, "From where I'm from, like, hey, Bo just means like, hey, friend, hey, buddy." And from then on, man, we just scream it at each other. Like, we just, from a mile away, like, because I worked on aircraft, so we're in this massive hangar, and just from the other side of the hangar, just, "Hey, Bo." And from there on, before I even knew that a garage door could break, I had Heybo on my truck. I ride dirt bikes. I had Heybo on my dirt bikes. So when I was going to come up with the company name when we started, I was trying to think of anything. I didn't want anything cliche, which, no offense to anybody, but like precision garage door, top notch garage, just any kind of like real like cliche name that you could think of. And my friends and family are like, well, you got Hey Bo on everything, so why don't you just call it Hey Bo? And I was like, Hey Bo it is. So the whole concept of Hey Bo is that we treat our customers like friends and family. That's what the
Yeah,
whole background is.
that's so good. How often do you think that question comes up?
A lot. A lot. Usually the funny thing is like obviously it says Hey Bo, but like people call it like Hey Boy or Hey Boo garage doors. I don't know why they mess up,
Yeah,
but that question happens all the time. But the funny thing is if we get a customer that's from like Florida, Georgia, the Carolinas, they know exactly what it means and they love us when we show up.
that's so cool. So let's help me understand your history. Like, garage door companies, I'm sure it's similar to plumbers and HVAC and anybody in the trades, but somehow they got started. If they own a garage door company, they had to have gotten started one way or another. Maybe they bought an existing garage door company and they didn't have prior experience, but I bet you 95% of the time or more, these are guys who got into the industry by working as a technician somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Somebody. But before that, let's go before that. Where did you grow up? Where were you born and raised? And start with that.
So technically I was born in Indiana. We bounced around a lot as a kid, but Brazil, Indiana is where I'm from. Small town Indiana. I think it's like maybe a population of like 15, 20,000 people or whatever. Um, and that's where I came from. And to go into my background, I come from a pretty poor family, actually, a pretty dysfunctional family. So straight, like I knew I needed a ticket out. Um, I was just figuring out how to get out of here and I never wanted to come back here. I was like, I'm leaving this place. So, my senior year of high school, basically my best friend then was like, "Hey dude, you want to join the military?" And I was like, "No. No, I'd never join the military." And he was like, "Okay, like why?" And I was like, no, I'm not getting screamed at every day. And he was like, "Okay, well, you need to tell that to the recruiter because I told him you were going to meet him for lunch today." And sure enough, he's a recruiter, so he sold me. And the one question he asked me, he was like, "What do you want to be like when you grow up?" And I was just like, "I just want to be successful." I was like, "That's all I care about." And he was like, "Well, I work on aircraft. I'm about to get out and make 100 and something thousand a year. My IRA is set up, so I got about $1 million in my IRA." He was like, "I'm basically set for life." And I was like, well, that's what I'm going to do then. And just took off to the Marine Corps, never looked back, basically.
So how long were you in the Marines?
I did 5 years. So I ended up being an aircraft mechanic after he told me that. So usually enlistment's about 4 years, but because you have a whole year of training, they tack on an extra year. So I went to the schoolhouse in Florida, went from Florida to North Carolina, and then I spent the rest of my time in Hawaii while I was in the Marine Corps.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
How awesome was that?
It was pretty awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. Yeah. And the military has a good way of making how expensive Hawaii is. They kind of supplement you for it a little bit. So it wasn't too bad. A lot of fun memories.
Thank you for doing that for your service.
Yeah. I basically went on a free vacation for 5 years. So yeah.
Sounds pretty good. I mean, if you're gonna go in I mean, there's no way probably better to do that.
Yeah.
Hawaii sounds pretty great. So okay, so you're from Brazil, Indiana. You grow up there. You meet with a recruiter. You go into the military. You're 5 years in. You're done. You leave. What do you do? Where did you go from there?
So I was going to be a cybersecurity. I was going to reenlist and go cybersecurity because it was just a way easier job than working on aircraft. And I got an $80,000 sign-in bonus to do it. Well, if I didn't pass, I had to go back to working on aircraft in the same place. So I decided to get out, and the Navy just adopted the aircraft that we were working on. So I went straight from Hawaii to Maryland to do contracting for the Navy. After the Navy, I got a better offer to go work in New Mexico for the Air Force. So straight out of there, I started doing contracting for the Navy. Then I started doing contracting for the Air Force. Are you about to ask me how I got into garage doors? Because we're
Yep,
about to
that's
get
my
to
next
that.
question.
Okay. So I was getting out during the height of COVID. So when COVID just launched, everybody had to wear a mask and everything. That's when I was getting out. It was a really weird time. Um, as I'm working in New Mexico for the Air Force, that's when they came out with the vaccine mandates. To everybody that listens, I don't care if you got the vaccine, but for me and my wife, we were not getting the vaccine. And basically, when I was in New Mexico, they were like, you either get the vaccine or you're not going to work here. So we were like, okay, well, we have a whole life set up here. We have a house, we have everything. It's like, what are we going to do? And I was like, well, I guess we'll move back to Indiana. And I was making pretty good money, especially for like a 23-year-old punk kid.
Mm-hmm.
I was making like $45 an hour. And I was like, all right, well, I got to find something that's going to at least match my lifestyle pretty close. And was looking on Indeed and saw this opportunity in Indianapolis that said garage door tech make anywhere from 75,000 to 150,000 in a year. And I was like, I don't know how much garage doors break. I don't know anything about garage doors. And I was like, whatever, I'll submit my resume and we'll see how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
And I hop on a phone call with the owner and he's like, ask me these questions. He's like, what do you do? And I was like, I work on aircraft. I'm an airframer. I do all this metal work. I paint. I do carbon fiber work and all this stuff. He was like, what do you know about sales? And I was like, I've never had a sales job before. I was like, but I have been listening to a lot of podcasts and reading a bunch of sales books because it interested me. I said, as long as I'm not like a used car salesman, I was like, I'm all for this. And he was like, I was like, but I have no experience in garage doors. And he was like, if you can put an aircraft in the sky, I think you can fix a garage door. And I was like, all right. So we packed up everything. I was living in this crappy ghetto apartment in downtown Indy while my wife was living with my mom, and I was learning how to be a garage door technician while barely getting by, and fell in love with it. After I got out of training, I think what made me fall in love with garage doors is that a job on an aircraft can take anywhere from weeks to months. Doesn't matter how hard it is. After you get done with it, basically they're just like, all right, here's your next job. Like, whatever, dude, this is what you do. Whereas like when I got into garage doors, it was like I was meeting people that knew people that I was in the Marine Corps with. I was meeting people that I like, cool people, and just creating great relationships with these people that I would never meet, making good money at the same time. And I mean, a job would maybe at most last me 4 hours, and the people would just be excited, like giving me gifts, giving me tips. And I was like, why would I want to do anything else? This is awesome. And that's kind of how I led into garage doors.
Amazing. So how long were you there at that company as a technician?
A year. I was there for a year. Yeah.
And then
1 year.
And then somehow a seed was planted in Brock's mind. I want to do this on my own. I want to venture out and be an entrepreneur. How did that little process occur of, like you if you were there a year, you weren't there very long. You pretty much probably already knew you wanted to do something on your own, which I'm an advocate for that.
I think I was never a go-getter in high school. Like, I was never a go-getter in high school. I wasn't top of my class in the Marine Corps. But once I got into aircraft, like, I had a lot of people push me. And like, then I started to get this like motivation of like, oh, like if you apply yourself, you can kind of do whatever you want. And that combination with like the strict rules of the Marine Corps, like if you wanted to leave further than like 100 miles outside of the base, you had to fill out like all these forms and stuff, or like you couldn't do this. Like if you wanted to go into the store, you had to take your hat off. And if you didn't have a belt on, like you're getting kicked out. Like, and I wanted this freedom really bad after I got in. And that was when the seed got planted, where by the time I got out, I was like, man, I just want freedom. Like, I want freedom. And what happened was I say this carefully because the people that I worked for, Phenomenal people. Like the owner's a great guy. The people I worked with, I love those people, but they did some things that I didn't agree with. There was just these little things that really bothered me. And we had a sales meeting one day, and me and another guy, which I think you guys marketed for him too. They were like, "Does anybody have a problem?" And me and him were like, "Yeah, we do. Like, this is bull crap. Like, I think our price should be our price. And if they say no, then we leave. Like, I want to stand on our price." And me and him both got told, "If you don't like it here, don't work here." And I was like, all right. Me being a punk kid, I was like, all right, I'm going to leave then. My thought is I wasn't even going to start my own garage door company. I was like, I'll just try a different garage door company. Well, the ones that are around where I'm from, like where we're at now, I think the most reviews is like 39 reviews, and it's like a 4.6, and like the other people were like just looking for helpers. And I was like, screw this, dude. Like, I'm just going to go work at this factory, work night shift, 410s. And I was like, I'm just going to try to get this going. And my goal was it just to be like a little kind of like side hustle. Like everybody around here has a lawnmower and a trailer for when the springtime comes around. And I was like, I'll just do this, make a little extra money on the side. It'll be good. And it just kept going. And like more people kept hitting me up. We got on Google, and it was just kind of off to the races from there. The crazy thing about that blows all the guys' minds that like work for me is I never installed my first garage door until we started this company. I only serviced garage doors. I only knew how to fix a garage door, and never installed my first garage door, never even saw like a commercial door or a commercial operator. And basically everything that I know was basically self-taught, which I like dove deep into knowledge. And we had one guy that had like 12 years of experience. And when I told him that, he was like, "Dude, I thought you were more experienced than I was." And I was like, "No, man, this is all just like slowly self-taught and calling people and asking questions."
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Truthfully amazing. I think what's even more amazing, what year was that?
2022. The end of 22 was when I left that company. And I didn't start my company until 23. The only reason why my logo says 22 on it is because I wanted people to think we were in business a year longer than we actually were.
What's even more amazing to me is you're 3 years old now? Are you about 3 years
This
old?
is year 3. So
This is year 3.
Yep, we started the beginning of 2023. So
Yeah. So, where you are currently is where some garage door companies don't get to after 5 years or 10 years. And in a lot of cases, the majority of the time, longer than that. So you've fast tracked, like you have a recipe. Maybe you didn't plan it, but the ingredients that you've put into this business, the bowl of your business has created a pretty powerful, robust, effect. You've not kind of gone like, this. You've gone like this, and it's just skyrocketed. And I'm comparing that to the average garage door company that I talk to. I probably talk to 5 or 6 a day, 5 days a week. I easily talk to 25 to at least 25 companies, different garage door companies a week. This is rare. This is not a normal thing. So let me, if you don't mind, like kind of crack your brain open and say, what are the main ingredients into your bowl of success? What do you attribute your success to? Going back to when you started, is it grit? Is it fire in the belly? Is it you're hungry all the time for business? Are you committed to customer service and good quality service and organization, SOPs, infrastructure? Did you start out with a CSR? Or did you answer the phone? All of those kinds of things. How did you start? Like what did you implement right away, and what has attributed to all of your fast success?
I think the number one thing that attributed to it was when I first started, I already listened to a bunch of podcasts. Like I listened to Andy Frisella like nonstop. So I knew that from the very beginning, it was not going to be one, freedom as a business owner is the biggest lie that there is. It's not you're rich. I actually work way more than I used to, and I make way less than I used to. Um, so I already knew that it was going to be a long, hard journey. Like that was just built into my brain. But like what got us here was I knew number one, customer service. If we treat our customers like they're the only customer we've ever had, no matter how many customers we get, we can't go wrong. And then two, find the best guys I can find and make them feel like they would never want to work anywhere else. So train them right, make them feel like there's no better place to work, and treat our customers like they are the only customer. I was like, if I do that and just make sure our numbers and everything, so like our prices, what I pay my guys, our profit and loss, if I do that, we'll be successful. That's what it was. That was my main goal. Take care of my customers, take care of my guys, make sure I'm not being dumb with my money and downsizing our life. Because when I started the business, we were in another house and we sold the house and moved into a camper. So the first 2 years we were in a camper while I built this business. And I still pay guys more than I pay myself. Which I knew that was what it took. So the guys really did that. I never told them to do anything that I wouldn't do. And if it was something that I haven't done, I would do it with them and stuff. And just knowing that if I reach 10 years and I don't see success out of it, maybe I'll chuck it up as a loss and try something else. But I was like, I'm giving it 10 years no matter what. And we'll go from there. I think that was the main things that attributed to this.
You started out with House Call Pro from the very beginning?
We started out with Jobber. Jobber was not what I thought it was going to be. We created our website on a Wix.com, which Wix had its own built-in CRM. And we were like, oh, well, this would be cool. This is all one place. Bad idea. And then we went to House Call. And House Call was a big jump from like Jobber and Wix. It did a lot of stuff that we wanted.
You were on House Call for a couple of years?
Yep.
Now,
so we were on House Call from until June of last year, and then we switched to Service Titan.
Okay, gotcha. You've got 2 Google business profiles, which is great for the Google Map expansion and your organic footprint. You've got one in Bloomington, and then you've got the one in Brazil. How many reviews do you have on both?
I think Brazil has 315 and Bloomington has 217, I think. Yeah.
How much is your new leads do you think comes from maps?
I would say probably 65 to 70% of our leads come from our GMB. I would say so.
So we've talked about doing PPC for you. That's still a maybe, I think, or down the road, possibly. You know, for where you're at in revenue for your business and the number of leads you get in the average month, for you to be doing what you're doing without implementing PPC yet, that's mind-boggling. Because the whole name of the game here is managing your costs per lead. So, you know, I'm an advocate for pushing heavy on a really good quality website, good quality, solid SEO, which nowadays should incorporate AEO, the agentic search or AI search, ChatGPT and the overviews and all that. You know, mastering and nailing down, really getting strong with your organic is super important, and included with organic in the website, you know, the maps and having more map locations so that you are spread out within your service area. You know, the more GBPs you have, and I'm not I'm not referring to fake locations and locations that aren't legitimate or named incorrectly. I'm talking about real deal locations done correctly within Google's guidelines. That's what we're advocating here. Um, that's how a lot of these PE garage door companies, they rely heavy on multiple GBPs. We have clients with a lot of GBPs. But I think that is kind of what you've started, and almost unintentionally.
Yep.
And it would be great to see you have more of those planted. You have to feed them, and it becomes kind of a challenge, because you have another GBP. That means, oh gosh, we got to put reviews on that one too, and then that potentially takes away reviews from your other GBPs. And if one of those GBPs, which it probably is, linked to your LSA, then that, do you sacrifice the reviews on that profile, which could potentially negatively, or hinder the performance of the LSA. So it's like this, you get, and somebody mentioned this in the Facebook group, the GDT Facebook group, not too long ago. In fact, it was one of our clients. He is a guy in South Carolina, and he said, "Hey, do I open another GBP or do I do PPC?" And I never did respond to it.
Oh, yeah.
As the admin of the group, I didn't respond, but a lot of other people did. I think all of them pretty much said, just do both. Why are you choosing? You can do both, But to manage your cost per lead is super important in marketing this business, because it's all a numbers game.
It
right?
is.
I mean, if you can, at the top of the funnel, shove leads into the business, and that's going to be a direct result of how many transactions you have at the end of that day, that week, that month. So for you, my point is, having two GBPs with, hundreds of reviews on both of them is strong. It's strong. So is your website. It's solid. It's a good looking website. It's done well. So I tip my hat, because you haven't gone cheap on your CRM. You haven't gone cheap on your website. You haven't gone cheap on your marketing. You're doing it correctly.
Yeah, I think when it comes to that was like a decision that I made right off the bat, which was like, I remember I was like pulling teeth to get my wife to let me just wrap my whole truck. She was like, just put a sticker or a magnet on the side. And I was like,
Yeah.
No, dude. She was like, all right, then do a half wrap. And I was like, no, I'm wrapping the full thing. I don't care what it costs. We're wrapping it. And she was like, why are you wrapping the whole thing? And when it was just, the funny part of me starting was like, when people would call, I'd be like, hey, this is Brock with Haybo Garage Doors. And they're like, blah, 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 I have a broken spring. Can you come out? And I'm like, yeah, let me see where all the guys are at and see if we can get anybody out there to you. I wouldn't even say Brock. I'd call myself like Bob or Brian or something like that. And be like, yeah, I'll see where we can fit you in on the schedule and I'll get you booked. And then I'd call them and tell them I'm on the way, and they wouldn't even know I'm the owner, the CSR, all these people at the same time. But the reason why I did that was because if I'm coming out to a house and I'm showing up in a clapped out like 2008 Dodge with a sticker on the side, and I give them a ticket for $4,000 for a steel back door, if I was them, I'd be like, what's telling me this guy isn't going to take my money and just run with it? I wanted them to trust us. And so from that point on, it was like, I want my trucks to look great. I want them to look like we've been in business forever. I want the website to look like we are a franchise, which we get that all the time. Like, people are like, are you guys a franchise? And we're like, nope, started out of a storage unit. And I wanted to build so much trust with our customers that the only reason why we should not be able to get their business is because my guys or me suck at doing our sales job. That was the whole goal, basically setting us up for success right off the get.
Yeah, I mean, the branding is spot on. Did you start with that logo, or did you start with another logo and then pay to have that branding done professionally?
Nope, this was I came up with the logo. Well, I didn't make it, but I went to 99 Designs and just What's cool about 99 Designs is I'm not a really good person to tell people they mess something up in person, but if I'm talking to somebody on a computer, I could just dial it in. So I'm like, fix this, this is messed up. Why would you put this there? And it came down to this logo and like 2 other ones, and I fell in love with this one. We stuck with it from the very beginning.
Wow, you got that done on 99 Design.
Yeah. People are blown away
Crazy.
that I got it done on 99 Designs. And our
Really
wrap
good.
was too.
Amazing.
Yep.
I mean, that would have cost you a hell of a lot more.
Yeah, I've
Otherwise.
looked at some prices. Yeah.
It looks great.
Yeah, I didn't have that kind of money back then.
Yeah, I mean, the branding is spot on. I think you did a really good job right out of the gate with that. A lot of people skip that step,
Yeah.
you know, in their journey. They skip the step of the brand. They'll have a lot of times the cheapest logo they can find. Like they want it to look good, but they don't want to spend a lot of money on it.
Yep.
You know, we don't do branding, we don't do logos. It's not our thing. But I hear it all the time, and I think to myself, well, gosh, I would probably start with that because it's that first impression. You know, I think the more things you put into it before you get started, it sort of defines how quickly you're going to ramp up.
Yep. I think you have to find like the middle ground, because there's where like you just take off too fast and it looks like your logo was made on work documents. But you also have the opposite side where people spend way too much time perfecting something that they just never go either. So it was just like, I want it to look really good, but I'm not going to sit here and just wait forever. So it was like, as soon as we saw that, it was like, let's go. Didn't want to waste time.
How much of the business now, I mean, is percentage wise is residential to commercial?
I would say 90%. The only reason, not 80 to 90%, depending
Resi?
on. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
And the only reason why we really do commercial is because of pole barns around here. Like we just have a lot of pole barns. So, which some of them, it's a lot of light commercial. We don't really do heavy commercial. When I first started, I was taking anything that I would get, but now like we're really like dialing it in deep, because it's a nightmare to try to balance both. It's a nightmare to try to have like both at the same time. And I just like to be perfect at one thing. And so we've actually just keep cutting back commercial as much as we can. The only time that we don't or say yes to commercial is if we've already done something on their house and they need something on their pole barn done, or we only have like 3 contractors that we work with and they need something done. That's about it.
But you're not going and doing dock levelers and bumpers and big commercial doors or hangar doors or any of that.
No, we've got asked to do it multiple times, but I just don't even want to go down that road. Yeah, I don't want to go down. I like it's not even so much that like we can't do it or anything like that. From the very beginning, I want to deal with a customer. I want to deal with a customer that like they care about this. When we're done with it, they are blown away. They're happy. We can bond and rapport with them. Whereas like a lot of commercial jobs, which I mean, it is what it is. If I worked at a warehouse and I had to get the doors done at the warehouse, I don't give a shit how you get them done. Just get them done.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I want us to have our bond and rapport. I want us to feel good about this. I want them to leave a review on Facebook about how happy they were with the service. That's why we stick with it. We get more gratification from residential. You can make a lot of money in commercial. That's like shiny. I have to keep my blinders on all the time because these shiny commercial objects start showing up and I'm like, man, we can make a really good amount of money off that. And I'm like, no, just keep doing what you're doing.
Here's the last question I have. What percentage of the jobs that you guys do you get a Google review from?
Let me try to think. It's not as much as I want it to be. Even though we've gotten a lot of reviews for this being our 3rd year. We do. If we run, I'd say at least 2 jobs that are 2 reviews a day, 2 to 3 reviews a day, I would say.
Wow.
Yeah, at least 1 to 3 reviews a day. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. That's
That
probably.
review consistency is so mission critical. I think it affects not just your success that you have with the leads that you get from maps, but I also believe, it's also relevant to your LSA. It's also relevant, I think, to your AI search visibility,
Yeah.
as well as Facebook reviews, as you mentioned.
Yeah. That's the first place that I go. I try to think of myself as like if I was a customer. Like I want to see the reviews. I want to see
Mhm.
anything that I go to, I want to see what the reviews are like. So it's like if we can get them to have photos in there and too and make it really personal, that's like what we're shooting for. So we're pretty upset if a customer doesn't leave a review. And that just the reason why is it's like, okay, did we actually do a good job there? Did they just not leave a review because they didn't want to leave a bad review? So like we're hunting for reviews every time we go out.
Well, I appreciate you doing this. It's so good to hear your story.
Yeah.
You've been on my list for a long time of people that I want to interview and get the skinny on your history, because if I was starting out in garage doors, I would call you up and I would psycho hunt you down.
Yeah.
And I would say, I'm taking you to dinner, I'm buying your lunch, I'm going to tag along with you, and I just want to shadow you because you've been able to accomplish something that most people don't get to typically ever as an average in the garage door industry. That is for sure. And for you to accomplish that in a short period of time is truly amazing. I mean, I just hope you keep the business and don't sell to PE anytime soon.
I gotta stop talking to you, Barry. You keep telling me this, and I'm like, I'm in my head every night, like up at night. And I'm like, man, you are nowhere near where you need to be because I'm hunting the 10 million, $20 million guys. I'm trying to be up there with them. But I realize how long it took them to be like get there. And where you asked me like what it is like, I do stay hungry with that. It's like, I shoot to be like, I don't want to say like the Tommy Mellows or anything, but I do want to be up there and I do want to like catch up there as fast as I can. And as soon as I start telling myself, well, you're good where you're at, like you've done a lot. And it's like, no, I got to keep that mindset out because then I'll start getting lackadaisical.
I think it's a combination of like, pat yourself on the back when you've accomplished great things. Pause, like the great Nick Saban says, like celebrate the win for 24 hours and get your ass back to work.
The 24-hour
goals and go after them. Stay hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm of the same philosophy. I mean, every time we get a flagship, new client, we celebrate. We go out and have a cocktail and a nice dinner. It's something to celebrate.
That's
something to like. That's a win. That's a good thing. But hey, man, next morning it's back at it. We got to do our marketing. We got to take care of our client. It's the grind.
I tell you what, though, turn this on you a little bit. I think what you're doing with Door and Gate is phenomenal. Like from the marketing companies that I worked with before, one, like you said at the beginning, like I consider you a friend. Like I'm always excited when I see you at any events that are there. I'm always excited when you're like on one of the calls that I'm on with Alejandra or anything like that, or like texting you or anything. It's phenomenal what you guys do compared to anybody else that I deal with, whether it's my CRM, other marketing companies. Like you guys treat us the way that I would want to be treated, like the way that I would treat another customer. I feel like you guys care. If I have a question, you don't blow me off. You're like, well, let's hop on a phone call real fast. Let's hop on a Zoom call. Let's talk this through. And the best part is that like we just got done talking about PPC. Could you have made a lot of money off of me running PPC? You could have made an okay amount, a pretty decent amount, but you didn't sell me on it. You're like, look, here's PPC. Here's the pros of that. Here's the cons of it. Here's the pros of getting more GB or GBPs. Here's the cons of it. Here's like your options. What do you think works best for you? You aren't just like, yeah, we can run it. Let's go. You take the time to teach me, which I still have a lot to be taught. And it's super cool. I think it's so great.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, I've I think we're very like-minded in the way we think about our clients, and it's important to treat others the way you want to be treated, in any scenario. But thank you for your recognition of that, and your kind compliments. It means a lot. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So, okay, great story. This is inspirational, and it's so fun to hear your history and how you've come this far. I hope we can keep you as a client forever, and I know that I'll get a phone call one day.
Yeah. Yeah.
But until then, we will continue to celebrate the wins. If you have a need to see what a great website looks like, go to Brock's website and check it out. It's heybogaragedoors.com. Isn't that right? Isn't that the domain? Yeah. And like, share and follow the podcast. Want to hop on the show? Let me know. Shoot me an email at barry@doordomination.com, and keep shooting for the stars, and we'll see you again.
Heck yeah. See you guys.